We are live.
All right. Uh, Okay. This is Team 6. This is our Scenario 220 business presentation. I'm Vinny.
I am Gabriel.
And I'm Benjamin or Ben, and we're gonna start off by talking about what was supposed to happen. So if you can move to the first slide,
hmm
and then I'll tell you. So originally, what was supposed to happen is for Taj Mahal, the original pricing stayed from the most of the beginning of the year all the way through May, and then it kind of fluctuated from $18 to $19 between May and August, and then back to the original pricing of 1750. At the beginning of the year was lower production, just because we were loading up on Alley Cat, which we'll get more into later. But we wanted to have more production so we could leave it open so we don't stock out during the summer. But then after we get past the months of June and July, the production starts ramping up because it makes more money for us.
Mhm.
What was supposed to happen for Alley Cat was at the beginning of the year. The price is at 1550, and we're producing a lot because we don't want to stock out during the months where it makes the majority of our money. And we'll see later, our EBT, like a significant portion comes from that, and we don't want any lost sales during the summer. So at the beginning of the year, we're producing a lot. And then after those big ones pass, we drop off the production to about 5,000, which is almost half of what we were producing at the beginning, in the middle of the year. And it doesn't say in our planning sheet, but we also tend to drop the pricing at the end of the year to make sure if we have any extra units to get rid of them.
hmm
And lastly, for Edgar, we don't have as much control over Edgar on our planning spreadsheet, just the way that it works. So the production numbers are a little bit weird. They're not rounded out like the other ones. But for the pricing, we keep it the same all year. Um, but we produce almost none at the beginning of the year because, again, we're trying to make room for Alley Cat. But at the end of the year, it becomes really popular and can drive some really good revenue. So we produce more at the end of the year to make sure that we hit our goal.
So this is kind of what happened. So over here is our financial statement. This is for the last scenario. The planning, the goal I think was 250, and
It was
we were able to
270.
hit 213. It was 270. Okay, that's what I thought. 270. We hit 13. We kind of went through, I want to say it was near the summer months. Our inventory kind of crashed, and
Yeah.
we weren't really keeping up as much as we should have on our ales, and I think our inventory started to dip. And then this pie chart right here is the percentage of sales. So Alley Cat, we had 37.1, Taj 29.1, and then Edgar was 33.8. So they're kind of even. Next slide, please. And there's more what happened. This was the sales history from our Scenario 220 run. As you can see, Alley Cat spiked up on the months that it's popular, and then Edgar and Taj were also kind of just sail coasting.
I would like to add to that. Um, uh, Contrary to previous years, this year's sales history looks pretty rough in the summer months, and we'll get into that later. But that's because we had lost sales. We didn't keep the inventory. So
Yeah.
um, yeah. So let's talk about the problems. Our results were not as we planned them. Definitely different in reality than our expectations were. So we've identified three main reasons for why that's the case. The first one, there's discrepancies between our scheduling plan and what actually happened in reality. So we're going to talk about this more later too. But we believe that our plan, our schedule is good. It is well rounded and it would yield good results. The problem is sticking to it and actually executing it correctly. Secondly, we were a little late to introduce a fifth fermenter. We had some hiccups with getting a loan out and then purchasing the fermenter, and that meant so that when we planned for higher production, we actually couldn't keep up with it because we didn't have that fermenter yet to supply. Then our third issue we allowed ourselves to become really, really focused on one ale at a time, and we kind of start to neglect the production of other ales. That's something we all work on. So if you see on the right side of the slide here, we have our planning, which we've seen a couple times now throughout this presentation, and under that is our inventory history graph, which we also talk about more later. But if we're looking at it right now, we planned for 8,900 cases of Alley Cat to be produced in January. As you can see on the graph, it looks like we produced about 6,000 cases. And so that's where the discrepancy starts to come in. We produced a lot less than we planned to, partially because of the fermenter not being there, partially because we weren't as diligent as we should have been. Next slide. Yeah, so here's the analysis here. On top of the January problem, we also had a problem in May. It's the same kind of thing. We produced a couple thousand less cases than we were planning to, and so we had lost sales in those months. Actually, if we go back here, we also had lost sales really throughout the summer months. So that was a really, really big hit. I think we focused too much on Taj Mahal when we really didn't need to, and we did not produce enough Alley Cat. So these are the lessons moving forward. So we believe that our plans are well-rounded. They're all good. The problem is executing them, as we talked about before. Here's how we're going to fix that going forward. So we got to make sure that we're constantly aware of what numbers we have regarding the inventory and the production orders, especially during the beginning of the year, because I think if we start off well, which we did not last year, if we start off well, then I think we set ourselves on a good path for the rest of the year. And making sure that we compare our current actions and results to our schedule to ensure that we're staying faithful to it. And then also we must really make sure that we have equal attention for each of the ales, because they all matter. They all make us money. Alley Cat we make the most out of because it's the highest selling. However, less money, and we don't want that. So, yeah.
The summary is the past year was not by any means a complete failure. We did do pretty good, but since we have always strived to be for better, there'll always be areas for improvement. In our scenarios, we definitely could have done, some of them we did really good, some of them we could have done a lot better. But we believe that our planning is great, through how much we produce the ales for and the prices we set them at for which months. We have identified issues and how we can fix them and make them, improve for next year's and years to come. And I think that our plan moving forward will be perfect. And I think next year will be our best year. That is all. That is our presentation of.
Thank you all for listening.
Yep. Thank you so much.
I've been Gabriel.
I'm Vinny.
I'm back.
All right. Perfect.